Okay, I'm recording. Uh, Hello guys. I am. Let's keep ourselves an alias. I am Logos. Logos in Greek that means knowledge. And what's your name? What's your alias in this podcast?
My name is okay. I am not going to dox my real name, so I'll be using my pseudonyms. So my name, so I am Semaphore, or and you can call me Selena or Lunace. I debatably I would be as gender fluid, but we're not going to talk about it yet. I'm I am an independent thinker and a radical centrist, an enlightened centrist, and also an enlightened centrist.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
okay, and I am also and also in have I am I have some astrogos and I have a lot of hobbies. So but I am not going to tell you. My politics is radical centrism, especially cultural, economic, diplomatic, so and so class class D alignment. There are more. The class D alignment, liberal corporatism, progressive conservatism, and also fourth wave feminism. I'm from the Philippines, and I am from the Philippines and grew up homeschooled. eh,
yeah.
And
About
I grew up homeschooled by my family. And also, I refused to like I used to be like far left and then left. Now I've tried to unlearn my political extremism. Refuse to label myself as right, or right wing because I incorporate both elements from it, both progressive and conservative factions. I either subscribe to left or right wing politics. This is how I became how I am unique, uh and how I have a unique political position, how I came to be since since I've slowly neutralized my political beliefs. Seems both sides, from the conservative and progressive, left or right factions, have tried to brainwash me, or tried to hypnotize, onto tricking them to get onto their to get to adapt their policies or their ways of thinking. But since I've now have since been exposed to a lot of clashing and contradictory worldviews, I've now it has neutralized down onto radical centrism, and I've now get onto syncretic politics. And it's not and yes, because I reject the label of left and right. I'm possibly at the dead center of the left and right spectrum of the compass. And so as in the civil axis, debatably could be leaning more authoritarian or libertarian.
it's time to talk about myself. I am Thai. I speak three languages. I speak Thai, สวัสดีครับ English right now, and Japanese こんにちは logos this.
Okay, and
I
also,
I I
yeah,
yeah,
mostly speak English, but sometimes I do speak. I do have
Tagalog.
I've learned a bit of Indonesian and also Russian,
Wow,
Filipino.
great. Yeah, my political stance.
I
I
did,
am
but I still can.
bro. Can I
Hey,
talk
try to
about myself
introduce
now?
yourself. Yes,
So,
introduce yourself.
oh yeah, thank you for giving me time. I'm gonna have a long monologue just like you did, so let's just start so we won't waste our time. I am a libertarian centrist. I'm an anarchist. Economically, I am blend of Georgist, class collaboration, mutualist, agorist. I am against tariffs, taxation, intellectual property, and land monopoly. As I say, I am very centrist. I support a blend of homesteading and usufructuary as bought in anarcho-capitalist economics and mutualist economic. Civically, I am an
Oh,
anarchist but with technocratic twist, and my cultural stance is a bit left wing to be honest, but generally I am a progressive conservative. I believe that traditions, whether you should follow it or not, should be judged case by case, not by the concept of tradition as a whole thing. And I will resist anything imposed on me. I am an anarcho individualist. And how do I get into this? Well, my life story is
oh,
quite similar to a semaphore. I in Thailand there is like a chaos in 2010s. There's a political chaos here, protest the dissents and protesters getting crushed by the government. I was raised in a conservative environment. I was not indoctrinated by the online, but rather my real life experience. My mom kept teaching me right and things like kill them, and look at the pins. So I became disillusioned with monarchy and conservatism. And then I saw my mom being so submissive, being the lumpen proletariat, according to Marxist theory. So I decided to become a socialist for like 3 months, and watching some left wing extremist thing and that things, and then I am neutralized, and then what thing clashed and neutralized into my. I was first a libertarian statist who believes in the state and welfare, but then I saw the war in
Kosovo.
Chicagoan and Gaza, and then decided to become an anarcho-pacifist because the state caused violence. Thank you.
Okay, so I still have more for my political beliefs. So basically support trade unions, and I've also basically support trade unions, free trade, and I am also against populism, racism, and imperialism and radicalism, and yeah, just try. You could depictably could be like dicta blonde. Would call my civic views would be dicta blonda, or whatever you call it as benevolent dictatorship, but which is close to civil rationalism for me, because like that I am not really an anarchist, and yeah, you I'm not really an anarchist, and your civical views are quite as far as mine. All at least you are believe at class D alignment and class D alignment, like, and economic radical centrism, taking the best of each factions, and so as their plus the and I also believe that in a technocratic democracy where both the citizens and the elite should have enough competence, and because by both of them can be corrupt, and also really and also is federalism. I don't care about monarchy unless if it is not totalitarian, tyrannical. But I also believe, and also federalism, also a republic. Cultural views. I am culturally syncretic, and I've I'm aggressive conservative. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've taken because that I've know like the LGBT and of like the things that you are fighting for have existed a long time ago as cultural traditions around the world,
The Greek
because
are gays,
culture is
and
relative.
Socrates have gay boyfriends. Hooray! Oh yeah.
Culture is relative. What seems taboo in one culture may be normal to another, and what seems as progress or deviance may be traditional or normal to another.
This is my worldview, but I have some disagreements, but we're not debating here. First of all, you are civic. I disagree with Dr. Banda. I believe that dictatorship cannot ever allow free. I don't believe that benevolent dictatorship exists because if there's a dictator, a dictator must suppress freedom, and that you cannot really have free speech in dictablanda space. But if you think that free speech can exist, it's not dictator, it's not benevolent dictatorship, it is a liberal autocracy. And for our cultural view, we really have the same view, and but I believe that morality and right and but I believe that traditions should not be the moral basis. Okay, let's introduce our podcast now about
Traditions are
ourselves.
not necessarily the moral basis, though, but yeah,
Oh,
that morals are a social construct and they are not a reality. The same way with race and society. It can be
personally,
constructed
I
by
believe
different
that
factors.
moral is kind of universal for me. I am generally a utilitarian, but let's stop all talking about ourselves, like me and you. Let's talk about our podcast for a bit. For me, I designed the podcast to be academic, but also a kind of shit posting. We will make smart jokes and some seriously cold and dry things. Do you agree?
What were you saying again? Like,
I'm saying that our
do I
podcast
do
would
believe in the karma? Oh,
same.
oh,
We're introducing our podcast now. We should really stop talking about ourselves before it gets boring, right?
okay. Now let's go. What's the first topic now? Now we'll talk about the failures of political extremism.
Yeah, political extremism. And let's talk about first thing. Talk about fascism. Fascism.
Okay,
What's my
fascism.
sermons?
Fascism is quite described as the third political theory according to Dugan because they it has been there has been debates on if fascism is culturally right or culturally ambiguous. See alternate modernism. I mean, because yeah, that's fascism doesn't even fit at the binary left or right politics in theory, but it may be there are reactionary types of fascism like Nazism or Ustasha, like
Political
clerical
fascism.
fascism, and so and like fascist because like most fascists were economically ambiguous, follow the economic model of corporatism, while Nazism follows the model of cameralism, which
What
is a
is
which
what is
technically is
capitalism?
Nazis were mercantilists.
Um, and I am going to talk about the thing. First, let's talk about the fascist Darwinism, the basis of its racism and nationalism. Let's talk about it. Yeah, social Darwinism and fascism. Or maybe should we stay at overall fascism before moving on, like to each aspect?
Overall fascism.
Yeah. Overall fascism.
Oh, let's see. Fascists were economically ambiguous. Yeah, it had tainted the name of third position economics, like corporatism, and but not necessarily distributism. Fascists were not, but there are some fascists that are progressive, like futurists, like which are as different than traditional fascism from Mussolini or the reactionary Ustasha and Nazis. But, like Germans were like it Germans like Nazi Germany was alternate modernist which I would call it as what I would call it as reactionary modernism. Basically, like as fascism had tainted the reputation of of third position economics, especially because of fascism's war crimes and how it killed millions of people. Like, but oh, Benito Mussolini had believed that race is a social construct just like me, but since due to the pressure from the Nazis and forming the Axis powers, you have they have Hitler has forced Mussolini to enforce anti-Semitism.
Yeah, anti-Semitism. Does that relate to some kind of um, social Darwinism? Does racism
The
and bigotry?
social Social Darwinism is based on the survival of the fittest principles and is regarded to be as off-compass capitalism, which is more extreme, which is logically more extreme than than the economics of the Austrian school, which has been set at the edge of which on the Austrian school is set at the edge of the right wing of the right extreme of the compass, which is civic I think is civically ambiguous, but social Darwinism takes it to
Austrian
the
is
extreme,
generally
and that
libertarian.
is becomes off compass. It exists beyond the limitations of the political compass, which I would call it unthinkable. Outside, not just outside the overtone window, but outside the compass's limits.
Outside the compass limit, wait, hold up, let
That's
me
how
just
we get
cite
to
your.
ideologies like gratocracy, ingsoc, hive mind collectivism, communalism, soulism, egoism, abolitionism, and social Darwinism. Those are off-compass ideologies in proximity to the compass that pushes beyond the limits of the compass.
Yeah, cool. Lock away to make political compass. I mean, they are unthinkable. The 64 formal class Tiamat. Wait, no, not Tiamat. Oh, wait up. Let me just unthinkable Tiamat. Yeah, Tiamat level. And what about the biological pseudoscientific? Sorry, I forgot that I closed my mic. Okay, so what is the biology, the pseudoscience behind social Darwinism?
That basically is what it comes with. It basically is like relates to genetics, which or I think eugenics, which is a field of pseudoscience. A field of pseudoscience what determines the genes that studies the genes or with the genes that determines human traits. And that is considered as pseudoscience because that is merely a misrepresentation of and the misunderstanding of the Darwinian theory of evolution, and that can be dangerous as this rhetoric can be used to justify genocides like Action T4 because and also racism. Like there are people who has used IQ and intelligence to be racist, thinking that rate that like having a darker skin color makes you dumb and illiterate. Like people who have darker skin color doesn't know how to read. Like blah blah blah. This eugenicist nonsense that relates to social Darwinism used by the Nazis. Although the Nazis weren't capitalist as neither socialists, even if they are just socialists in name only. Nazis were mercantilists, not or cameralists, which is the third position, mercantilism. The Nazis have used social Darwinism to justify genocides like Action T4 and even the Holocaust.
Very interesting. Let's talk about Holocaust for a bit. Holocaust is also ableist. I am an autistic person, as you can see. I I
Also,
I have
Jews and Roma and Slavs.
yeah, the
Yeah,
Romanis.
the Holocaust and also as the LGBT and modern artists. The death toll of the Holocaust is 6 million. They have been executed and tortured in Auschwitz camps, in the camps of Auschwitz, being burnt alive, forced overworked to death with forced labor, or in exterminated in gas chambers, or being used as test subjects, the disposable test subjects. No matter how it is so sad that many people, especially these neo Nazis, try to deny the Holocaust. Like
There
that is 6 million people killed. Like there is evidence that the Holocaust happened.
yes, sure. Let's let's talk. Yeah, about Holocaust is about social Darwinism and the undesirable and the pseudoscience of the genetics, like blacks, Adams, Jews, those, this and that. Personally, it's not really what's right at all. It's sex. You know what? According to, yeah, I have the Campbell biology book. Um, in the next table, let me just grab it up. Uh,
So that
I am
because
not
like
wearing my
this is
headphones
how
right
like
now. I'm
that
very
like
sorry.
social Darwinism
Fuck.
and eugenics
Hold
is
up.
related uh, to race
Wait. Not
realism.
that's not
Like
this
they
quick.
believe like believing
Then
in the
oh no
existence
no no
of
not that things.
individual races.
Wait hold up.
Like they categor like
On the origin
they've
of
categorized
the
races
species was
at and
this.
thing
Wait hold
and
up. Let me just
I'm looking at
find
their
it.
advantages and
Uh,
disadvantages. In the 1960s, the scientific community have
hate my life.
the scientific community have labeled
The
race as
order.
the race racialism as pseudoscience
Hold up.
due to the
The
discovery of molecular genetics. Due to the discovery of
yeah the
molecular
base
genetics, just takes like
420
it takes and those
something.
molecular genetics are regional and there
Uh,
are could be
where
regional
the
and they
fuck
have
is where did I leave on? Hold up.
certain patterns onto
No,
different
not this
regions,
page, not
which
this
would
page,
give the
not this
illusion of
page.
race.
Hold up.
Because like it takes about
Biology.
ten
No,
thousands of
no, no,
years
not
for
biology.
humans to
Fucking
actually
biology.
adapt to a darker skin color
I'm sorry if this
since
is
like the dawn
taking
of
so fucking
civilization
long
because of
because
high exposure to UV
I just
ray
suck.
of to UV radiation which
Where
tans
the
their
last
skin. And that's how we get onto tanning.
red
That's how we get onto tanning and skinning
uh
dark and skin darkening. Is
wait
because this is
I am
not
not
about because that is not all about race because of UV radiation and of
according to
youthful factors like molecular genetics and UV
no
radiation
this the
and
page
environment and the environment.
no
Mm,
fuck
like people who have developed dark
I
skin
hate
are
my life
are able to adapt. Like
about
people who have dark skin
shit
are able to adapt
where is
more
it
onto extreme heat,
where is
onto the extreme heat.
oh
And
no this is
like
hard
Africa is poor because yeah, you know why how Africa is poor is because of imperialism and colonialism, imperialism and corruption, money,
according to Campbell
corruption and
biology,
nepotism,
um,
and not because of
international
eugenic, and
sex
not because of
edition,
eugenics. And
the phrases struggle for existence and survival of the fittest are misleading if we take them to mean direct competitive contest among individuals. There are animal species in which individuals, usually the males, lock horns or otherwise do combat to determine mating privilege. But reproductive success is generally more subtle and passive. A barnacle may produce more eggs than its neighbors because it is more efficient at collecting food from the water. In a population of moths, certain variants may average more offspring than others moths. Certain variants may average more offspring than others because their body and wing colors hide them from predators better. Plants in a wildlife population may differ in reproductive success because some are better able to attract pollinators, owing a slight variations in flower color, shape, or fragrance. These examples support the biological definition of fitness. Darwinian fitness is the contribution of individuals who make the gene pool of the next generation relative to the contribution to other individuals. According to Campbell Biology, Sixth International Edition, it's about sex, dude. I mean, yeah, the Nazis were like, no, stop the degeneracy. Dude, just shut the fuck up because survival fitness means that I come the most and impregnate most women and inherit my gene the most. Isn't that funny, my guy? Sex. Sex for Darwin as a
eugenics because just like as race, like molecular because like the looks of our body as the looks of our body is determined by is dictated by molecular genetics and that and it's not yeah, because because those types of genetics try to work. Types of genetics are try those types of genetics were exclusive to one specific region or another, and depending on the environment, you may like this gives the illusion of race. Like you could be at whatever you want. Like you could look whatever you want, regardless of your race or origin. Like what I am I am Filipino, and if I am going to be like a girl, like I would really I really would like to look as to this beautiful, and and also modify my body features to look as less like Filipino, and that proves my theory that race is a social construct. Race is not a reality, and our looks of our body and their differences are based on molecular genetics. And and the fact that it just varies around the world gives the illusion of race.
Yeah, dude. That joke was not really funny. I know nobody laughed except myself. And let's move on. You state that. Oh my god. You state that Darwinism is of compass capitalism. Why? I mean, yeah. Let's talk about first. In the phrase that I introduced myself, algorithm mutualism in the Tucker case on the caving cause a left wing market anarchist case is and is heavily um, influenced by Austrian economics, myself included. I am a left wing barbarian.
But
Yeah, but I want to ask some questions like how does
agorism or counter economics
yeah
Agorism or counter economics is
yes
considered to be
that's
anarcho-centrism or
um
centrist
yes
anarchism because agorism is favors of a mixed economy without a state,
I agree.
specifically a black market. It combines the humanitarian collective the humanitarian collective aspects of left-wing anarchism with free market voluntary aspects of the right-wing anarchism. It's because agorism is considered to be anarcho-centrism. So like one one misconception about about the compass is how like neoluddism and anarcho-primitivism, although they're economically ambiguous, were considered to be anarcho-centrism. But in reality, like both agorism both agorism and anarcho-primitivism are economically ambiguous anarchists.
I want to ask some question. Why why does why is Darwinism off compass capitalism?
Because it takes laissez faire, which is survival of the richest, to its logical extreme with animals and species, which is social Darwinism, or as of a hyper capitalism, a form of social Darwinism, a form of hyper capitalism where competition with is taken to its logical extreme, that would form a grotesque of a grotesque mutation of the capitalist system.
Uh, my okay, let's just as we plan. I'm sorry, but this may look bad to you, but I want this thing to go as fluid and natural as possible and unpredictable. But I have some outlines. Let's talk about the right wing extremism for a bit, since we talk about Darwinism as compares capitalism, which is clearly left wing. So let's talk about the NRX, the
Let's talk
and
about
Darwin, the Curtis Darwin.
NRX or neo-reactionaryism is a movement started by I think Curtis Yavin, who is Curtis Yavin, who basically wants to keep the principles of enlightenment, but wants to bring back old systems like feudalism, and it's considered to be as good, considered to be as civically centrist as it combines the more authoritarian aspects of capitalism, like corporatocracy, with the more anarchist aspects of with which is voluntarism or minarchism, like or right libertarianism.
Oh wait, but and let's talk about Nicola and the right-wing experiment. What's your opinion on isolationism, like the the te- te- teleo teleoplexy, uh, and cracker
Helioplexy.
factory and many things like, and like we have like many Landian things presenting like the book of dark enlightenment meltdown and many things in thing
That's a
delusive.
dark enlightenment. They don't reject the enlightenment, but yeah, they've just tried to bring back old systems like feudalism or feudalism or aristocracy, so hence they are like against egalitarianism, progress, and democracy. Mm,
And what's your overall and and what's your overall and what's your overall opinion on the NRX labbers?
Well, the NRX is quite as weird. Well, regarding as like regarding, they are not outright or they are not fascists. They just claim themselves to be reactionary. So I think it's like mixing the principles of the of irrational romanticism with with a reason with a rational enlightenment, which is the dark enlightenment, despite their culturally reactionary stance. But in reality, like the NRX is culturally variable or ambiguous. Like the NRX could technically be culturally centrist because, like, despite the fact that they're right unity or four cup one, not even in the fourth or the first quadrant, but they're in both of these quadrants. They're yeah, just to say with my point that NRX is civically ambiguous, like with vanilla capitalism, like right unity.
Right, unity. So let's talk about some NRX practice first. Let's just talk about patchwork, the decentralization. That thing. What's your opinion on it?
Patchwork, which is like a decentralization to the taken to the extreme.
Yeah, and would that fail? I mean, the episode here is like failure of political extremism. So how does this extreme decentralization fail? Hello, hello.
Oh, what were you talking about?
Patchwork. I mean, do you think that patchwork would fail or would it succeed?
NRX NRX is built on a feudal system, so they rely on slavery. Although like machines would like possibly outdate feudal systems, so maybe they would use feudalism with robots or AI instead of humans. I think that's techno feudalism because like NRX is newly run by corporations alike. Especially yeah, like there NRX follows the model of post-libertarianism, following like the more authoritarian practices of the dictabuanda, was with more libertarian civil with civil liberty combined with civil liberty. It would possibly that not to be confused with Dicta Blonda, which that would possibly would neutralize the neutralize the civic axis to be civil rationalism, which NRX follows. Just like, but yeah, on the other side of the spectrum, Italian left communism is like is civically centrist, but follows a different model than post like which is organic centralism as opposed to post-libertarianism.
So is post-libertarianism a dicta blanda on steroids?
Oh, they may be different, but Wanda may slightly be more authoritarian, but post-libertarianism, I think, would debatably be in the dead center of the civic spectrum.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
how the NRX was civically ambiguous
yeah.
because they want the fourth quadrant and the first quadrant to cooperate with each other, creating a more creating a unique hybrid model for the NRX, as opposed to like is much but with organic centralism, which would possibly you think neutralize civil liberties with organic centralism neutralizes civil liberties, and authority would is possibly has a similar model with post-libertarianism, but that mean left communism is considered as left post-libertarianism.
Wait, what? Dude, I never knew that before. Okay, dude, this is so insane. Uh, let's talk about the. I think that Darwin has said that he is influenced by Austrian economics, but personally, I know, dude. Oh, he's just using libertarian rhetoric as well. Like, what did Rosa Parks
Well,
say? Fucking corporation.
Darwin is not really in politics.
Yes, yes.
Darwin is not really in
Yeah, I mean
Darwin is
Darwin,
not really in
Darwin.
politics, but
Wait. I mean
politicians are
Darwin,
trying to distort
Darwin,
his name
Darwin.
in order to justify atrocity genocide.
Wait. Uh, 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 um. Oh, look at the town square, please. I'm not even talking about my favorite biologist. I'm talking about the madman.
Sorry. This Yavin is the founder of
Wait, hold up. Who tagged me? Hold up. Wait, it's you. Oh, wait.
this. Yeah, but recently got like Nitro, so I've got this emoji from another. So,
Yeah,
it's a
pretty cool.
Mario. So Curtis Yavin is basically the founder of NRX, which Wikipedia calls them to be
Yeah,
neo-fascists.
not even
So
fascist.
it may the NRX has been influenced the out yeah outright yeah despite like NRX's culturally ambiguous stance, claiming themselves to be reactionary, possibly drawn attention to outright. Mm,
We will talk. Okay, we will talk about the outright later. We are talking about outright later in the later chapters of the story. We are gonna dig into some Austrian economics. Why does extreme capitalism fails? As a free marketeer myself, I wanna hear your opinions on that, but I am not a capitalist for sure.
well, I am well. I'm economic pragmatist mixing the humanitarian aspects of socialism with the free market aspects of capitalism. Although even if I refuse to like identify myself as left or right wing.
Um, what's your opinion on Chicagoan and Austrian? The flight man not try to sell it and
Oh, as Austrian economic
just talk, bro. Don't just don't type. Just talk. We are making a podcast here.
as
Bro, say something. Just talk, man. Just don't type, bro. I mean, we're making a podcast, right?ไม่อะผมคุยกับเพื่อน uh, um, uh, and so
now like typing at
sorry.
feudalism and yeah. It's so
Yeah, that's my overall opinion. Yeah, I am secretly a lot barbarian myself. Sorry if that disturbed you. I should have cut, but we should move to talking instead in the radio station. All right, let's just get back into voice chat. Okay.
okay, voice chat now.
Okay. So yeah, how, yeah. Let's talk about why Austrian economics fail. Because I mean, I am willing to listen to this agreement because I am not a dumbass and I can handle disagreement without having a mental breakdown. So, what's your critique on
Oh,
the Austrian Chicago shit?
oh, oh, I'm not really a fan of Austrian economics, considering the fact it's just as it does not even put a strong social safety net. Sorry, not sorry, but Hayek and Friedman's ideas are better, are as better. Mm, Hayek's and Friedman's ideas are better. I,
Oh,
but still, yeah, I do combine the left wing and right wing aspects of left and right
same.
wing economics.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, like it's just like Austrian economics is just as dogmatic as Italian left communism. They do like just because they have social safety net or welfare at all, they would call them as socialists for just like how they call every other variant, just like how left comms call every other variant of communism that's tried as not real communism or just social democracy, state capitalism.
I agree, dude. Like, the Austrians are so fucking annoying. I mean, when I have welfare and social status, like I believe that, yeah, dude, like, let's have some equality, and then when I free healthcare, so nobody die in a fucking car crash, and they scream like commies, commies. I just want my fucking equality and welfare. I agree. And Italian like communist, yeah, as I am not a Marxist, but I borrowed from Marx. I believe in class struggle and alienation from labor, but still, I mean, they're so fucking annoying. Like, a bit of a slightest deviation from Marx and Lenin is social democracy. They're fucking annoying. Like, the left wing in fighting. I mean, I feel we should accelerate that because authoritarian sucks, but still, that's so funny. Like, the German left communists, the constant communists scream like, "Oh, they are fucking shite," and the Italian left communists are like fucking shite. Dude, this shit fucking sucks.
Yeah, well, yeah, because just like of almost like Austrian economists were as dogmatic as Italian left communists, trying to like post a block of text to prove X to try in order to try to deface or disagree with someone's argument or or point of view. Yeah, it's just like as how corporate monopoly could achieve communism. I would like to talk about in how corporate monopoly can achieve communism without a revolution
What?
or violence bloodshed. That's a horseshoe theory confirmed because corporate communism achieves I think like it achieves like all with to like competition and the market, and especially replace hierarchies with horizontal aspects, so they would so that corporations would seize the means of production that for that instead of starvation or nothing, everyone would just get the product, would equally just get the new product, like the Marxian distribution, or like the distribution
Yeah,
and the abolition of business, with in just like with primitive communism,
yeah, dude.
except it's a more high-tech version of it.
Let's just
That's the horseshoe
can
theory.
we will I think this is going more fluid than my plan. Congratulations, you get my fucking trophy. Here's your um trophy. Here's your trophy, dude. Here. Fuck. Um. Uh. Thank you for giving me a lot of more talking points. Uh. Okay, and the other thing. Let's just talk about also. Let's talk about the free market capitalism. Let's talk about some corporate capitalism. I mean, I hate corporate monopolies. They're like they're like buy lands and do fucking nothing. Like Elon Musk, the businessman, the CP in Thailand, that like buying some land for 7-Eleven, and they have like 5 7-Elevens in the range of 10 kilometers. That's fucking insane. And the original Monopoly, like, if I make a mod of fucking add-ons for Monster Hunter, I would get my head shot by Capcom. Yeah, what's your opinion on the state capitalism and mercantilism?
Well, state capitalism is politically could be economically centrist, and because of doing Moy and Deng's and reforms in China, essentially their communism essentially becomes and socialism eventually becomes neutralized onto what's economic realism. Yes, I'm talking about economic realism as the center, realist as the center of the material axis and the eight dreams test between altruity and avarice.
I am going to take some snacks for a bit because my grandma called me. So I I am going outside for a bit, dude. I mean, you can keep talking, and I don't hear you because like you can just like talk about state capitalism and mercantilism for a while. I am not going to hear anything because I am downstairs. You can just keep talking without me, okay? Um,
Okay.
what?
Which next? Which topic
Oh
next?
yeah,
What
let's
topic
let's
next?
just
We're going to move on to left
we are
wing
talking about the
extremism.
futurism, the cultural aspects of fascism, and the impact, like the the thing we have planned in our DM. You seen that? I have fixed some. You can just visit my DM and say I plan because like I have edited my text. You can see that. So we are talking about the reactionaryism and the futurism and the out politics and many things. See you viewers. Um, I am not used to this to my recording program, so let's just say I will just uh
Okay,
I will just
now
end the recording now. Yeah. Bye bye.